Midday in the Queen City, business is booming. Another big company is relocating here, and we're talking with a new head of a signature Cincinnati nonprofit. Let's do lunch. Cincinnati is a city that means business. Fortune 500 company HQs, renowned institutions like Children's Hospital and the Cincinnati Zoo, and letters that everyone here knows: TQL, GE, CVG, UC, and X. It's also a city that's large enough for new ideas to take root and grow. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and you're in business. I'm Jack Crumley, and this is The Working Lunch. Hello, welcome to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. This is our hour-long business show here on The Crown, where we bring you updates on the activities of local companies and businesses. We bring you exclusive interviews with CEOs and local leaders, and we try to squeeze in a bite to eat, something to drink before you go back to face the afternoon. Glad to have you. Cincinnati Business Headlines, presented by First State Bank, built on belief and committed to doing right by our communities. First State Bank offers checking, savings, and mortgage services all from your phone. They believe in this community and they believe in you. Visit FSB4me.com. That's First State Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. Well, you heard it in the headline. We have another big company that is coming here, Valvoline, announcing it is moving its global headquarters from Lexington, Kentucky to downtown Cincinnati, right near the corner of 3rd and Elm. That current location in Lexington will stay part of the Valvoline operation as a central hub, keeping hundreds of workers there. The announcement made by Jobs Ohio says that Valvoline Global has expanded its employee base by nearly 20% in just the last 3 years. This new space here in Cincinnati will be designed for up to 120 workers. The planned renovation and transition to the new global HQ will happen over the coming months, with the new facility expected to open in the spring of next year. Downtown Cincinnati getting quite a bit of car-related attention this summer. We already heard and we've seen the barriers that are out there. AAA is in the midst of a multi-million-dollar renovation for its office right along Central Parkway. Making some C-suite changes at the Northern Kentucky Economic Development Service, BENKY, with Kimberly Rossetti, seen there, being named and promoted to Chief Economic Development Officer. She's been with them since 2019. CEO Lee Kroom in a statement says that Rossetti is a driver of the region's growth in her time there. A statement by BENKY says that her team has won 130 projects under her leadership, representing over $2 billion in capital investment and more than 10,000 new jobs. Those sound like good stats to me. Congratulations. Another longtime Cincinnati restaurant known for sushi and more has announced a closure. I saw some rumblings online about this last week, was hoping for the best, but confirmation is out now. Asiana on Edwards Road in Oakley, which has been going for more than 2 decades, has now closed. Now, the website for the Crestview Hills location is still up and running. That right there is a picture from Yelp. Just 6 years ago, Asiana made Yelp's list of 100 top places to eat in the country. No word yet on what will go in that space on Edwards Road near the 71 ramp. However, if you know that area, you know that parking around there is a somewhat regular challenge. We'll see what goes into the new space. Do have some other closing news to bring you. That's a picture that's part of a post by West 6th Brewing, announcing that the Covington House tap room is going to close this weekend. That post saying that Northern Kentucky's been very welcoming for that brewer, but the building lease is up for renewal, and the numbers just don't work. It's only been in that spot for about a year and a half. West 6th is inviting people to come out and have a beer one last time. The final day there this Saturday. We are going to close headlines, though, with expansion news. That is KDM Signs, and Ready Cincinnati is announcing that KDM Signs is expanding locally, adding over 120 new jobs to nearly double the workforce and generate over $6 million in new payroll, establishing Cincinnati as a center of excellence for its North American activities. KDM does print signs, in-store marketing, and more. CEO Adam Curtis says this city has the talent, infrastructure, and connectivity that he needs for the next phase of growth. The Ohio Tax Credit Authority has approved a deal for KDM that's worth over $600,000 in tax breaks to add on to its HQ in Evendale. Other state and local support still possible / likely as well. Jack's Big Bite is where we focus on one particular story or topic in our community, a community we believe in with our partners at First State Bank. Stop into one of their local branches or visit online at fsb4me.com to access all the helpful tools and services at First State Bank, built on belief and committed to doing right by our communities. For today's Big Bite, presented by First State Bank, we are telling the story of the Free Store Food Bank. This is a Cincinnati signature nonprofit. They are the largest emergency food provider in the tri-state, supporting people in 20 counties. It's pretty hard to drive along Liberty Street and over the Rhine without seeing the Free Store Food Bank building there, right in the heart of an area that needs their help the most.
Many parents and caregivers have to add an additional 10 meals per child per week during the summer months when school is out. But thanks to generous donors, the Free Store Food Bank can help by making sure that every kid has access to nutritious, kid-friendly options during the summer months. So if you're a family that needs support or you're able to help, go to freestorefoodbank.org to learn more.
But that is an important distinction, though, and if you were watching that video closely, you might have seen it. That spot in Over the Rhine on Liberty is not their only location. That is the Customer Connection Center. The Free Store also supplies B. Taylor Market in the Riverside area, just west of downtown, and there's the Distribution Center right nearby on Rosenthal Way. That only opened in 2023. That building was a big game changer for how the Free Store Food Bank serves the community. Take a look.
The new building is awesome. It's beautiful. They did a great job, and it has given us the chance for all of our programs to grow.
It's allowed us to be more operationally efficient, and it's just allowed us to use our resources in a more cost-effective and socially appropriate manner.
So now that my team is all under my roof, it makes my job a lot easier because the communication is more effective.
Working here has been fantastic, just a complete upgrade in every sense of the word.
The size is wonderful.
We didn't have pallet racking in the old building. Now we do.
It's also allowed us to reduce costs immensely.
Oh, this place is gorgeous. It's wonderful to come into work every morning.
The welcoming aspect of it, we have a much more open space. We have just more space in general.
My room has doubled by having more space for more produce. I can easily take in more pounds, which means I can share more pounds and I can deliver more boxes out to the community.
So we have a cooler, we have a loading area. We are now producing over 6,000 senior boxes per month for our seniors here. We would not have had room for that new building.
Before we had our Lift the Tri-State program down in Kentucky, so we could tell people about it. We couldn't really show people. So now in this building, we can highlight the Lift program, Cooks program, any of the programs we offer here. Really let us shine the light on the work we're doing and the people we're impacting.
Connecting our donors to the work that we do and having everyone here together makes that so much easier.
As the Director of Donor Engagement, this has been an awesome...
Boy, I really do love that. That new building is on the Frank and Connie Gerson campus. The Free Store Food Bank began in 1971. Frank Gerson worked at Cincinnati's incinerator, and the way the story goes, he saw usable household items being thrown away, so he began collecting those items. and giving them to disadvantaged families. Gerson named his practice the Free Store. He incorporated it as a public charity, quit his job, and opened for business in his apartment. In 1979, the Free Store became a founding member of Feeding America. That's when the name evolved to become the Free Store Food Bank, now one of more than 200 food banks within the Feeding America network, all from a man with a heart looking to help others. Just how big of an impact does that help make? Well, take a look at their impact report. More than 250,000 of our neighbors here in the Cincinnati tri-state region are considered food insecure, meaning they don't know where their next meal is coming from. That is 1 in 7 of our neighbors. 82,000 of those are children. The Free Store Food Bank from July of 24 to June of last year provided more than 47 million meals to the community. And we're not just talking canned beets and potatoes. We're talking 15 million pounds of produce and 6 million pounds of retail food that has been rescued. And that's the other thing. This is really a massive logistics operation. You saw some of that video there. That 225,000 square foot new facility is now the hub to distribute food to more than 600 pantries. There's also a remarkable number of programs that are operating there as well, along with the well-known Power Packs that make sure local kids have food to take home over a weekend when they're not being fed at school. There's also the Commodity Supplemental Food Program. That is boxes of food for senior citizens who are at risk of going hungry. There are clinic pantries that have the Rubber Duck Family Market. That is family, meaning food as medicine in low-income youth. There's the Healthy Harvest Mobile Market scene there. That's a mobile grocery store bringing food to different communities. It's been going for a decade. The KIND program is in charge of keeping infants nourished and developing. KIND. There's also the Cincinnati Cooks program. I love this as well. Free culinary job training. It's a 10-week course where students learn how to work in a commercial kitchen. There's an employment path to restaurants in the area as well. Everything I just said is not an exhaustive list. That is really the tip of the iceberg. You can see from the impact report where the Free Store Food Bank draws its resources between the government, certainly, and donations and more, and a network connecting people to those programs and services to give them a chance to try to make things in their lives a little more stable. The Free Store Food Bank saw a leadership change just this year. Craig Cassee has been the CEO of the Free Store Food Bank just since March. And he's my guest when we come back. We got to take a break, though. You are watching The Working Lunch on The Crown. Stick around. Here's some stocks for you to check out. Check your numbers. Some red, some green. Not quite Christmas time, but we're getting there. We'll be back in a minute.
Our beliefs matter. They're reflected in our words and actions. At First State Bank, we believe in treating people well, and have since 1884. Listening, caring, looking out for each other. It's what people deserve. It's what a real local bank does. While lots of things have changed over the years, our belief in you hasn't. First State Bank, built on belief.
My name is Jack Crumley. I've been covering news in Cincinnati on the radio for the last 20 years. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, but Cincinnati has always felt like home since day one. I've seen so many things accomplished here, and now, with the Working Lunch, I get to write, read, and talk about them every day. Hard-working people with a drive and a dream. Innovative ideas that help shape this city. Cincinnati is a great city, and I'm excited to tell you about it every day. Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley, as promised, joined now by the president and CEO of the Free Store Food Bank. Just in this role, it still has that new CEO smell on the inside of the office, right?
That may just be me, but yeah.
Craig Cassee, thank you very much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thrilled to be here. Thanks for getting the message out.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. I have a tremendous amount of respect for your nonprofit specifically. I really think it is. I think it is maybe the nonprofit. Not that it's a competition, but like just the idea of feeding families and the work and the scale that which you guys do it. All the different programs. I really respect what you guys do. And in terms of the scale, you know, you guys are a food organization, but you're really also a logistics operation.
Absolutely.
And talk about what, like having that as a focus instead of just, you know, counting apples and meals for people.
Yeah, sure. And I think it's the markets that you described earlier really are kind of what people think of or what they see, right? Because that's where they would experience it, a lot of folks. But we deliver to the 600 locations through these 20 counties you talked about. And it's complicated, right? But that's what we're doing. It's a major logistics operation. I think, you know, we may get into this later, but that's why I think I'm here a lot. I've got a long supply chain history, and that's really what we're trying to do, get to food where it's needed.
Well, and, you know, again, you sort of being new in the driver's seat here, the team that executes this kind of an operation with the size of that new place and the number of pantries you're supporting and the different intakes that you're getting as far as donations go and everything else, it's got to be a pretty monstrous organization. Not monstrous, but like it's got to be a well-oiled machine.
Yes, and very responsible with our donors' dollars. But we have about 140 full-time employees, split kind of between that folks doing the programs, folks doing logistics and getting things out, the warehouse team, et cetera, and then the workforce development that you talked about before, Cincinnati Cooks and Lifts. So it is big. And then we also depend on, we had last year 12,000 different volunteers spent at least one day with us, right? And so more than 80,000 hours of volunteer service, which is really what it takes to get all the work done. And it's complicated, right? And we're working with pantries that are not sort of open every day. So you're trying to manage, you know, when they're open, when the one near them is open, how do we do it all? So it's complicated, but it's a job we're thrilled to do. And, you know, some days we wish folks didn't need our help, but we're happy to do it when we can.
Well, that's something I wanted to ask you. Like 47 million meals on that last impact report. By all signs, demand is growing.
Yeah.
Does it feel like this is just such an uphill battle that like an endless struggle, or is it even about not even thinking about, we're not trying to get to an end, we're just trying to help bridge a gap?
Well, I think, you know, I still have the new CEO smell, so maybe I'm not feeling that way yet. But I do think there's days when, you know, it feels like, hey, no matter how much you do, there's more to do. And so I work with the team quite a bit to talk about, hey, let's remember how far we've come and all the great things we're doing for folks. And we get a lot of positive feedback, right? Folks come in every day and, you know, thank us and are appreciative of what we're doing. And it's funny, we had a group in last week that they came in, they put volunteer hours, gave us a check, and then thanked me for the opportunity to do it, right? Which is amazing. The community is so supportive. But I think it's, we talk about the 47 million meals we do, which is amazing. And I think somebody told me if you put all those trucks together, it would fill up Paycor Stadium or some number like that, right? But there is still more work to do. And so what I keep trying to focus the organization on, in cooperation with a lot of groups that you've actually had on your show, is what is the total need and how do we all help each other get there, right? It's not just going to be us. We play a major part of it, but how do we cooperate with everyone to make sure food is getting to where it's needed?
Yeah, you're living in the world and you're sort of having to take that zoomed out view and then position the pieces on the board. Not to put you on the spot since things are relatively new, but I mean, what is your take on the state of food insecurity in this area? Is it growing? Are there, I don't know, bright spots? Are there signs of hope? I don't know what kind of a question to ask about that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So, I think that, like I said before, it's, we wish folks weren't facing food insecurity or hunger, right? Nobody wants to go hungry, and certainly every family deserves a nutritious meal, and we're trying to get there, right? And so I think there's great signs of hope from the fact that the community is really supportive, that we have all these great nonprofits working together to get to improve the situation. I think the challenge would be, we talked about the impact report you put up on the list. Or on the screen. We're about to have a new one come out.
Oh yeah,
and it's going to show that we've gone from 274,000 residents in these 20 counties food insecure to 292,000.
Wow.
From 80,000 children to 91,000 children. So the challenges are getting a little broader, and certainly for us, and not to get political, but changes in SNAP have meant SNAP has been reduced for folks, and so we don't take SNAP, but when folks don't have other dollars to get food, they're going to come to us, right? So we're seeing higher demand. We're glad to put all the effort in to help meet it, but there's a challenge there for sure.
Well, and certainly the challenge is being met on a number of fronts by your organization and the variety of programs that you guys have. We mentioned them in the Big Bite segment, all those different pantry options and the food as medicine stuff and the cooking school and all that. But a couple of things that are coming up soon. In 2 weeks, we've got Riverfest, which of course used to mean a big storage unit that dumped a bunch of yellow ducks into the river. We have evolved from that in recent years, but the Rubber Duck Regatta is coming up in 2 weeks, which means people can buy a duck to feed a child.
Yep. So a duck's $5, which is nice, right? So anybody can do that for us. Oh, there you go. Buy a duck, feed a child. You buy 5 ducks, you get a 6th one.
Yeah.
If you buy 25,
there's quack packs. There's a whole thing.
And you can get
right?
T-shirts and different things. But it's a great thing for the community. And I will tell you that we're disappointed it can't be in person because of the challenges with the Purple People Bridge. But we're dedicated to get back to it because it is quite an event. And I know people have loved it. Although, not to rat anybody out, I've been told by several people how they come and watch it every year. Well, we haven't done it for 3, so maybe not every year, but it's great. And the community support for it's amazing, and everybody can understand. Children don't deserve to be hungry, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's such a good event. The availability. Talk about working with partners. Kroger having that. It's still the option. You can just buy it right at the checkout.
Plus, there's not anymore, but they're a big supporter, and there's other ways to do it. The best way to do it right now is to go to www.rubberduckregatta.org and you can buy it right online.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's easier than ever just to be able to get the word out of something on social media. I mean, I pulled that little logo from you guys are very active online.
Yep.
Getting the word out social media wise, that's got to be a pretty big part of your marketing ideas,
for
right?
Sure, right. And here, and we're going to 150, 200,000 ducks, right? It's a lot. So there's a lot of activity, and we get great support, and we're actively trying to push the message out to folks.
Yeah, for sure. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. But then in about 1 more week, you've got Taste of the Bengals, which, those are people that are familiar with using taste of something. We're used to that phrase. But I mean, so you've got, more than a dozen restaurants involved coming out for this. This is a big fundraiser for you guys.
Yeah, it's a big fundraiser. And the Bengals have been great supporters of ours for a long time. And so we really appreciate that. And this event, where actually 40 restaurants will be providing food. And many of the Bengal players will be there. For folks that have VIP tickets, and we don't have very many of those left, they get to give autographs and closer interactions with the players. And then there's a general session with the food and things like that, and really get a chance to hear the message from the Bengals and from us about what we're doing.
Yeah, that Taste of the Bengals thing, I was taking some notes on that. It's next week. It's at Paycor Stadium. Just a general admission ticket gets you in, and you get to eat your fill of everything.
Yep.
Restaurants like Mazunte are there.
Yep.
Coppins from Hotel Covington. These are a couple of my favorite places. And then there's Rheingeist. There's Raising Cane's. There's Jeff Ruby.
Yep.
It's
something for everyone.
You run the gamut on that. That's a tremendous fundraiser. Plus, then people can get in early for autograph options.
Right, that's the VIP tickets, and so those are again online. You can get them. Those are $500, so they're almost all gone. So act fast, I guess. But we're thrilled for the opportunity again. So appreciative of the Bengals players helping us out. Right.
Yeah.
Don Reisner's the player host this year, so we're looking forward to talking to him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, for sure. No, and again, you mentioned all these different partners that you have between Kroger and all sorts of organizations and companies here in town. How has that been for you coming into being the CEO of this very large nonprofit? And did you have an understanding of I think it's a really unique environment here, the way the business community really, the role it plays in supporting all these nonprofits we have here in the city?
Yeah, well, I did have some experience with that. I was the chairman of the board of SORTA for several years, the bus system. So when the levy passed, and we had great community and business support for that. But I do say that it's when you go into a new business, it always seems simple until you try to do it yourself, kind of thing. And so impressed with the support we get from the corporate community, from the 12,000 volunteers, from the 30,000 different donors we had last year. Really remarkable, and I think that's the only way we can solve this is working together. Right?
Yeah, and then the support then for the different programs that you guys have. I think people, I think there's a really good sense from just it's not even about like a marketing thing that you guys have done. You're not really trying to position yourselves in any specific way other than getting the word out for the programs that you have available to people. And I think people have really responded to that. They see the good that you're doing. The Power Packs have been a mainstay of this community. I remember seeing ads. Pete Rose was talking about Power Packs going back in the day. There's just, in terms of discovering meaningful programming, is there sort of a questionnaire list when you're thinking about something new, or you're still trying to get into that mode?
New like me, right? I think we're always looking for innovative ways, right? The world evolves and you have to go with it, right? So, in recent years, it's been more things like home delivery, right? So we have a partnership with Amazon where we call it Free Store Direct, where we put together, really produce and things for folks that can't get out of their homes to go shop, and Amazon will deliver those boxes for us. We're working with them to get more along the lines of food as medicine or grocery as medicine, so that you might have a box of food that's for somebody that has diabetes, or a box of food that has somebody with heart conditions, things like that. And they're looking to help us with that too. So things have changed, but I think our job is to get food out, right? And that is the core of our mission. We want to improve lives by eliminating hunger in partnership with the community. And so, any way we can do that is really it. But it's more than that. So folks that are dealing with hunger often are dealing with other things that poverty would create. So we talk about food, we get food out in all those ways you talked about it, connection. So we can help you get SNAP benefits, right? SNAP benefits are harder to get now, but that makes getting assistance through the application process even more important. So folks that are due those benefits, we help them get there, or Medicaid, or we can produce on site at Liberty Street Market. We can get you a birth certificate, right? Because you need that to get a job, things like that. So really trying to do so food, connection, and then hope would be things like the workforce development programs, right? Both LIFT, which is the warehouse training, and I tell you what, the folks that go through there, they learn how to they get certified on 5 different pieces of equipment and yellow belt training, Six Sigma type stuff. That is remarkable. And
That's crazy.
I feel like my challenge there is I think we could graduate twice as many people and they'd all still be scooped up, right? There's a lot of demand in that space. And then the Cooks program we talked about, obviously we're in the food world, and getting folks in these restaurant skills is fantastic. And there's actually 2 programs there. You talked about the first 9 weeks, which is the basic skills, and the second 9 weeks you get more the early certifications from the American Culinary Federation, so you can go in a restaurant and really be cooking.
Yeah. There's like the more advanced, the 202 course level.
Those up, right.
That's really great. How big of a deal is that new building? Because talking about in that little video that we had there, the LIFT program, like we didn't have room for this at the old space. That's a game changer,
right? And so I'm so appreciative. Kurt Reiber, who was there before me, did amazing things, and the organization grew so much, and that's really the signature achievement. And what it lets you do, right, is have an efficient supply chain. And so what I'm told is before we got into that building, we were doing about 5 million pounds of produce a year. We'll do almost 15 million pounds this year. And so really, not just food, nutritious food. You need cold storage to do it. We have massive cold storage space, and we're, using that for the benefit of the community.
What's one thing about your organization that you are familiar with at this point, but that most people don't realize?
I do think it is that this week we're getting food into these 20 counties, right? I think oftentimes we're seen as very Cincinnati, and we are, right? Hamilton County, but we're serving, 3 counties in Indiana, 9 in Kentucky, and 8 in Ohio. And so the fact that we're supporting folks throughout the whole region really matters.
I think that bit you were talking about with the birth certificate option is that's quite a feature too. Just trying to get people some level of stability in their lives, and if you know that at least the food box is not unchecked, it's at least like, okay, I feel okay about this, then you can springboard into actually taking the reins on stuff.
Stabilization is where we're trying to get
stabilization.
Yep.
Craig Cassee is the president and CEO of the Free Store Food Bank. We got to take a break. More with Craig about where he came from and how he came into this position when we come back next.
Okay, who are you? Well, you have a First State Bank checking account, so you'll be getting cash back whenever you use it.
Oh. Open a checking account at First State Bank for cash back. First State Bank, built on belief.
How did you get in here?
What is The Crown? It's simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know this city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch The Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for the Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive, proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley, joined by the president and CEO of the Free Store Food Bank, Craig Cassee. Craig, you have been in this position just since March, and I think you specifically said late March.
March 30th.
March, well, hey, that was my birthday.
There you go. Happy
because
birthday.
we're
I'm sorry I
adults, and
missed
that's an
it.
important
That's right.
stat to bring up amongst people. So how's it been going? I mean, do you know your way around the hallways yet?
I do for the most part, right? I was teasing you before that I give tours sometimes, and people ask me, where does this door go to? I said, let's find out.
That's a fun bit of CEO hazing, making you give the tour.
Exactly. Well, pleased to do it, right? And it's been great. I think, as I mentioned before, that when any new job seems easy till you get into it and you find out some of the details. But great team to work with. We're doing amazing things, and proud of what the team does. In fact, sort of the trickiest part for me is folks want to come and say thank you, and I'm like, I haven't done much yet, but I'll take credit anyway. Kind of thing.
Well, there'll be times down the road when you'll get blamed for something that's not your fault, and you'll just have to take that too. How did all this? How did this come to be? I was looking at I was doing some LinkedIn stalking and looking at your resume. Other than you mentioning your time with Sorta, like you've got a decently long history in not the nonprofit world,
the for-profit
in the
world.
for-profit world, as a lot of people call it.
Yeah. For sure, and I think what's interesting is as you mentioned, we're a large distribution company at the heart of what we're doing, right? And so many of the same skills you need in industry apply here, right? But so, I was a long time here. I came down to Cincinnati from Michigan. Go Blue. That maybe doesn't make me popular, but
come on, man, just be cool.
There you go. So I came down with Procter & Gamble years ago.
Yeah.
I worked in the food and beverage division. So maybe that's the tie here. That isn't part of Procter & Gamble anyway. But it was a great experience and learned a lot. And then went through a few different other companies. And always community involved, intended to be at least. And because I know, right? Maybe I wasn't born on third base, but probably second, and not everybody is. And so we got to work to give, help folks that need the help and lift them up, right? And so always had that bent. And then I joined a company, Michelman.
I wanted to ask
Blue
about this
Ash,
because this was you were there for quite a long time, and they do environmentally friendly packaging,
coatings for packaging, among other things, right? And a great company. And so my mentor there, he would say he's too young to be my mentor, but a gentleman named Steve Schiffman, and really was leading the company at the time, and really driving toward community engagement and the importance, right, for companies to reinvest in their community. And so working there, I got the I was encouraged to do community activism. And so when Mayor Crumley asked me to join the Sorta board, they gave me the support to do it. And so I was there for a long time and was able to see the impact that that you can have by doing good work in the community, right? Sort of gets people to education, healthcare, quality of life type events. So, and many of the same neighbors that come to the Free Store. So, learn from that, and then continued to look. And I got into this world. Really, it's interesting. Steve's wife Julie was one of the three founders of Last Mile Food Rescue.
Gotcha.
And so, as I had kind of retired after whatever it was, 8 years as COO at Michelman. I was looking to fill some time and give back and do some things. And so Julie had asked me to get involved a little bit with some consulting for them on a couple of things. And then I started doing deliveries for Last Mile, right? Rescuing food and dropping it off and really kind of learning what that meant. And then from there started talking to other folks, La Soup and Free Store and things about, hey, how does this all fit together? And realizing that, everyone's doing great work individually and can we do even better work together? And so when Kurt announced that he was leaving, I talked to a couple of the board members that I knew through my other, time in the community, and 6 months later, it was quite a task to get through that interviewing process, but they decided to take a chance on me.
I think that's really remarkable. The idea that you had been working in the for-profit world and then you said retired, right? You were just doing things to fill your time to help people, and now that's a pretty wild pivot now into being the CEO of the Free Store.
Yeah. I guess so,
That's
right?
Pretty wild.
My wife says I failed at retirement, but so honored to do it, humbled really for the opportunity. And you talked about, this is really a signature nonprofit and the work we've done so long. And I was saying before, I'm a little bashful when folks say, thank you for all the work you've done, because I haven't done it so much. But great team. And, my job is to make sure they continue to be in a position where they can be successful and that we can really work together with the community, other folks in this food security ecosystem to improve the lives of the folks in the tri-state.
You mentioned in your LinkedIn page that supply chain management is considered to be one of your top skills. Is that from Michelman or is that from someplace else?
It's one of my top experiences. Skills is a whole different question. But so no, at Sun Chemical, I didn't really talk about my time there. That's a company based in New Jersey, but quite a large presence here. I helped build the supply chain network for them globally.
I would think that experience had to really go into
Absolutely, right.
what
So
this
all
is.
these things really help, and it's an interesting challenge because we I don't know the best way to say it. If you're delivering food to an industrial site, they're open all day, every day, 20. A lot of the pantries we're working with are only open 2 or 3 days a week or certain hours because they're relying on volunteers too, and so there's real complexity here. And then a lot of the we talked about. I think you showed a graphic that showed we get donated food, rescued food, government food, and then purchased food, and we have a lot of flexibility with the non-government food. But the government food adds a whole bunch of complexity. As you imagine, we're appreciative of it. We're thrilled to do it. But there's paperwork involved, right? And so this is the Indiana peanut butter. This is the Ohio peanut butter. So there's some complexities about how you're trying to move things around.
Was that a surprise to you when you moved into this position, having to juggle state regulations, like you said? Because if Indiana's giving you peanut butter, that they don't want that going to someplace else. That's
right.
taxpayer peanut butter.
I guess surprised by the complexity it adds. I shouldn't have been because I knew we were covering those things. But it's and again, thrilled to do it, appreciative of all the help, but it just adds complexity to what we're doing.
What is it like for you two coming into this position? You mentioned Kurt Reiber, who had been in the role for more than a decade,
15
right?
years,
15 years. And the Free Store Food Bank saw tremendous growth during that period, going from like 5 million to 30 million as far as that might just be in meals served. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, no, so kind of triple the amount of food that was being provided. Yep. No, did an amazing job.
Does that represent like big shoes to fill for you? Is that a big opportunity? Is that a chance to bring in a different perspective? What does picking up where he left off mean for you?
Yeah, maybe all those things, right? I joke with. Kurt was great, and he's been very supportive of me. I appreciate it. And it's funny you use the phrase "big shoes to fill." He's much taller than me, so his shoes are literally bigger. But the number of times people have told me, you have big shoes to fill, and they're right. But I was laughing at his retirement party as I was walking up the podium, and one of my first lines was, "I have big shoes to fill." Someone literally told me as I was walking up, "Hey, you have really big shoes to fill." So I keep reminding that I do, and I told Kurt if he could mess a few things up, it would have been easier for me, But he did an amazing job, and so I think. But we're launching from here on, and so all the good work we've done, right? We're, we want to eliminate poverty. We want to, get everyone the food that they deserve. But the challenge is getting harder, even despite all the good work we've done, right?
Speaking of the challenge, we talked about the challenges of operating such a complex organization and how the need apparently is still growing. Things like inflation, we've talked about it on this show. The cost of living, the cost of food is going up. Yep. It's becoming more challenging. What does that mean for you as an organization? How do those challenges trickle down to you as far as, is it mostly affecting donations? Is it affecting the way that your different partners are able to supply you? What are the big challenges that you're dealing with right now at this top?
So certainly, as food's gotten more expensive and dollars have gotten constrained a little bit, we get less food than we used to from the government. Also, as we're buying food, right, it's more expensive, so the same dollar doesn't give you as much food as it used to. And so certainly working hard to make sure we can get, all the donated and rescued food, both stuff we manage ourselves and with partners like Last Mile. We're, the Soup and everybody else doing all those things together. So it gets harder, and so you're relying on donations, right? And luckily, the community's been very supportive of us, and I think we have to keep earning that support every day, right? But the challenge is, if you look to the beautiful new building, right? Major capital campaign for that, and we certainly appreciate everyone that did that. And most of the major, companies helped us with that. But it's the day-to-day that every day there's, more food to be bought and more, that costs you. So it's an ongoing thing, and so the needs continue to grow.
Well, and in terms of how important the donations are, I think this is a point that it's so important for people to understand. As much as folks may want to give you cans from the back of their cabinet, it's really about money donations, right? Because the connections you have and the organizations that you're working with, you guys have a catchphrase about like $1 is worth three or meals. Feeds three meals. $1 gets 3 meals because of the way your organization is set up.
Right.
That's a huge thing when every nickel really counting, and as much as maybe here's a jug of milk, thanks a lot, but can we just talk about?
Yeah, no, and it's great when folks do that.
Yeah.
Milk's a little trickier because it doesn't, it's harder to keep for a long time. But we appreciate food drives, right? Really do. And so, but the challenge gets to be if you're thinking about how we're distributing and trying to move large quantities. We're moving pallets full of cans of beans, whatever. When you get 3 of these and 4 of those, it's kind of harder to manage. Folks, even for our pantry partners to order online, any food we get, we love it, we appreciate it, and we'll get it to folks. But we can sort of do it more efficiently with dollars.
Yeah, you guys can make that dollar go a lot farther on that.
Yep.
That's really, really tremendous work. What is your thought looking ahead? So many people want to know about everything that came before and how you feel about that. But in terms of charting a path, is it about finding new avenues? Is it about just keeping up with the demand? Do you have sort of a vision for the next 5 years for the Free Store?
Well, I do. I think we need to keep doing what we're doing in many respects, right? A lot of good programs. We need to continue to focus on the food side of things, right? We're doing a lot of other things that matter. But food is the heart of what we're doing. And I do think what we really need to do is as other folks are in this ecosystem with us, how do we cooperate to get more out and really focus the efforts on the neighbors that are in need. And I think also, we have these 600 pantry partners that are amazing. How do we help lift them up more, right? Can we have, you had Ken Tracy on, right? So amazing what they do at Impacting Tomorrow. There's only one of those in these 20 counties. Does there need to be 10? Right? Can we do more for folks by working together and expanding what we do? And I want to lift up and support all the folks that are helping. But it's interesting, a lot of the nonprofits where folks have been doing this for 30, 40 years, right? Some of those folks are sort of aging out of being able to help, right? And so what comes after that, and how do we help them survive and grow and, work together?
That's another challenge. And the idea, rising tide raises all boats, right? Being able to partner, it's not a competition, it's a cooperation. That's really great. Craig Cassee is the relatively new president and CEO of the Free Store Food Bank. They've got Taste of the Bengals, a big fundraiser coming up in just a week. There are still maybe a couple tickets available for that, depending on when you're watching this video. And then in 2 weeks is Riverfest. That's with the Rubber Duck Regatta. Buy a duck, feed a child. Check it all out, freestorefoodbank.org. That's the website. An organization that's doing a tremendous amount of good work in the tri-state area, not just in one city. 20 counties, millions of people getting help, millions of meals being served to a lot of folks in need. Free Store Food Bank. Craig, thanks very much for coming on. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more Working Lunch after this.
Our beliefs matter. They're reflected in our words and actions. At First State Bank, we believe in treating people well and have since 1884. Listening, caring, looking out for each other. It's what people deserve. It's what a real local bank does. While lots of things have changed over the years, our belief in you hasn't. First State Bank, built on belief.
This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Previews, recaps, breakdowns, interviews, and more. You can find it all right here. Your one-stop shop for a quick dose of college hoops on your morning commute. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, a Cincinnati native, and I have been in media for about 10 years now. Formerly on the radio here in Cincinnati, I grew my love and obsession with finding all things fun in Cincinnati and have now made it my life. I'm originally from the west side here, and then I've pretty much been a downtown girl ever since college. But I did leave for 7 years, and during that time, I really grew and harnessed and cut my teeth doing stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, learning how to ski in Colorado, and now I'm back here in Cincinnati, driven by curiosity and grounded by family.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. A couple things for you as we wrap up today's show. This is really interesting. I've seen a lot of promotion lately for dirty sodas. They're kind of everywhere. It's like a pop that's got like a cream mixed into it for some different kinds of flavors. They have dirty sodas at the Western Bowl now. But there's also some data that I was able to find in a recent report. If you own a restaurant, some new data on where things seem to be going among Gen Z and millennial customers. The National Restaurant Association putting out the 2026 Restaurant Beverage Trends Report. I know you were just saying the other day, when is this new report going to come out? Hope you had a big dinner for Restaurant Beverage Trends Report Eve last night. This report says that the idea of just going somewhere for a drink, a restaurant specifically, not a bar, is something that's growing in popularity. Younger consumers are looking for new flavors, and that is pushing expanded menus. In this report, it says 87% of full-service operators and 80% of limited service operators say that beverages can be an important driver of restaurant traffic. 72% of those surveyed say that restaurants are a good place to learn about drinks they've never tried before. 54% say they enjoy being adventurous when selecting a beverage. Now, certainly, no surprise, younger consumers are leading the trend. 71% of both Gen Z and millennial consumers say that their favorite restaurant beverages provide flavor experiences that they can't easily get at home. Which leads me to a real quick aside here. This is why I've never understood the soda stream machines. Because, I mean, I get it. People have them. You want to make it at home. But is pop not just everywhere? Like, how hard is it just to get a Coke? And I know that the machine means that you're saving money, I guess. But after you've bought that machine and the syrups and everything, how much Starry there do you have to make to cover what you spent on the machine and everything? It's got to be a while before you start to catch up on the margins there. Anyway, that's a little bit of an aside. Back to this report about beverages in restaurants. One other bit in that report that I think is worth noting, 83% of delivery customers say that they would include a drink with their DoorDash or whatever app that they're ordering from. They would include a drink with their order if improved packaging allowed restaurants to offer more beverage options. Also, 2/3 of restaurant operators say that they would increase beverage promotion for delivery if packaging improvements made transportation easier. So for all you innovators out there, build a better cup holder and millennials will beat a path to your door, as the phrase goes. I would like to thank my guest, Craig Cassey, the president and CEO of the Free Store Food Bank. I really wasn't kidding when I said that I think that is a signature nonprofit here in this area, doing so much to help thousands of people in need every day, so many of them children, getting them food, making sure that they're fed when they're not at school, getting boxes of food to seniors. There's employment programs. You heard him there talking about how they can help people get a birth certificate. That's something I didn't even realize that they did, along with training to work in restaurants. I think that's a really excellent way of using your time and using all the facilities that they have in that new space. Again, a couple big events that they have coming up. The Rubber Duck Regatta in 2 weeks as part of Riverfest. You can buy a duck and feed a child and win a great prize if your duck comes in. And then in the meantime, in just 1 week, Taste of the Bengals. It's a tremendous fundraiser for the Free Store Food Bank. Check all that out. freestorefoodbank.org is the website. Hey, it's Tuesday. You know what that means. We've got a new Nat Tries That that's been put up. I've only seen clips of this, but I remember the discussion that was going on when she did this. It's a Nat Tries That that involves jumping off something with a bungee cord attached to her feet. That's not something I want to do, but Nat tries it, and you can see all of the ups and downs and turmoil of that on today's show. You can stream us live or on demand. CincyCrown.com is the website. We're on YouTube, Mixler, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts. You can watch us on TV. Tell your friends about us. That's our show. Again, thank you to Craig Cassey from the Free Store Food Bank for coming on the show. We're back at noon tomorrow. Got a big week of shows as we roll through the summer here on The Working Lunch. Thanks for watching.